Man, so, when we first started talking about it, I was like, God damn, it's been so long since I've done anything like that. And trying to practice and stuff in my car and, in my little closet at home. Like 2 minutes of yelling and I couldn't talk the rest of the day. It sucked. But, I don't know. Coming over and doing the demos and stuff, it was a little rough for a couple days after that. And then, we went to the studio and spent the majority of the day going at it, and it wasn't as bad. So I think maybe I'm starting to warm back into things, and especially as we do it more frequently, more often, getting ready to track more songs and do shows and stuff. I'm hoping it'll just get right back into that groove. I know you're not doing as much yelling and stuff on this record and more singing stuff, but it kind of changed a little bit last time we were in the studio. It sounded awesome. Like, you haven't done that shit in a long time either, so yeah, it sounded good though. Yeah, it was definitely a little weird trying to get back to
Oh man, this 80s music got me speeding, dude. Damn, man.
just the way things sounded, I guess.
Shit.
They didn't exactly just come like right off the tip. It was just, I felt like the first couple times I was trying to do it, I was really overexerting. And I think that's why my voice just shot so quickly. It's definitely kind of, I've forgotten how good it feels to like have a conduit to just like let out any frustrations or anything going on, and it doesn't have to be pertaining to whatever lyrics you're yelling and whatnot. It's one of the things that I think I've probably missed the most is we would play shows and whatnot. You get that energy back from people, but a lot of the energy that you exert on stage and whatnot is it's in the moment, but a lot of it's just like you've been working all week, you've been dealing with life and stuff, and you go up there and you do that, you're just throwing out all your emotions at one time, and getting that feedback. So it's been really cool to use that as a revenue of pushing out emotion, and it's also it's different emotions too, even when we were doing this before, we talk about being the adults in the group, but we were still kids basically. We were all in our early 20s, and the problems and emotions and big feelings you have then is completely different. It's been around 15 years, 12, 13 years, something like that. Life's different. All your problems are different. It's a different type of frustration or happiness or whatever you're letting out. It almost it's almost more meaningful now than it was. I think a lot about how we start playing shows again, what that's gonna look like. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm ready, I'm excited, but I look in the mirror and I'm like, am I ready? Like I get out of breath going up and down my stairs.
Reference to reference.
Look at old videos on YouTube and whatnot of me jumping around, and like I don't know. I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to move around as much as I did and keep my breath. It's also it's crazy how far adrenaline and being in the moment will push you too. So yeah, hopefully. Definitely. I can only imagine, your heart condition and stuff you've been going through. 'Cause it's like for me, if I sit down for 30 minutes. Standing up sucks. I can't imagine uh, how it's going to be actually getting on stage, and if adrenaline carries me through this 35, 40 minute, hour long set, whatever it ends up being, how whenever the adrenaline dies down, the crash is going to come, uh, and the pain, sweet pitchless pain.
Why do bands make music now? With the exception of a few thousand musical artists, most musicians don't see a return for the money and time invested for writing and recording records. So why a small band like Lap for Truth would put out a new album after 10 years on hiatus? The answer for us is death. This time around anyways. This past September, I went through heart failure attributed by my AFib condition being out of control for months. And as the doctor explained my chances of survival and how grave my refraction rate was for my heart, my life became a much shorter laundry list of to-dos. And if I might only have a few years to live and I was going to be getting weaker, sicker, I wanted to make another Lap for Truth record, along with finish a few other projects. I had written and recorded maybe 20 demos over the past decade, wrote maybe 60 pages of lyrics for concepts of new Lap for Truth records, but never had the spare $5 to $6 laying around to record a record. And we all lived in separate cities. All the normal complications of getting older and seeking security as musicians and artists, so we've never really entertained leaving hiatus. It takes money and time to create music, and as we all know in this economy, we pay for things we'll never own and increasingly have to pay more just to occupy space on planet Earth. It's hard to come up with extra money just to play music with your friends. So what was in my wheelhouse as a sick dude was make some art for Lap for Truth. Thought maybe I'll eventually get a little bit stronger before I eventually get weaker and closer to death. Till then, what can I work on? My thought was I'll compile all the live footage chronologically, interview the dudes who played in the band in different eras, and organize all that into a project and release it for our 20th anniversary, which is coming up in 2025. I got out the ICU, started working on that, and Corey hit me up, our drummer. He mentioned that we should do reunion shows. Since at the time I felt that my time on Earth was limited, I'm like, sure, distant date, when I get some strength back in my arms and legs, maybe we could do some reunion shows. That would be really sick. So I thought going through our music, posted a few jokes about it, kept working on the doc, kept thinking about it. You know, I'm really sick at the time. I like pass out when I stand up, you know, type level of sick. I was eating 7 heart meds a day, and Corey was checking in on me. I made a little social media post to see if anyone would be interested in maybe an 11/11 reunion show. Michael said he was interested. A few months later, I'm feeling a little bit stronger. Obviously, still a feeble version of my 6'5" normal self. But I can at least hold and play a guitar without passing out now. From the week I was in the ICU with heart failure to now, I've been writing lyrics for a maybe new Lap for Truth record. On the chance it was the last Lap for Truth record that I could participate in, you know, it'll have my most precious ideas that I've been trying to cram into our music and art since 2005. I didn't know if we'd record because I'm in poor, you know, I'm poor and in heart failure, and there's no interest in our band putting out music. So it's like, how do you come up with the music money to do that, and where do you rehearse, and blah, 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 blah. You know, lots of practical things you have to get through to just before you record music, you know. But I knew if we wrote music together, it'd be dope and precious, at least to us involved. And that's why you write music, That's why you write music in 2025. It's not because there's any kind of dollar sign next to it or it's, I don't know, we got bigger issues than music, but music is precious, You write it and you perform it and you play it and you share it and you tour as like some kind of like ritual, It's like ritual magic. We celebrate, mourn, howl at the existential quagmire that hits entropy before comprehension, And when, I have faith that if I felt I needed to put out another Latin for Truth record, the other dudes in the world needed it as well. I'm not high on faith, but or ego, or what people thought about my band or my music. But I do believe in art and the power of symbolism and performance, as a ritual. The theme of the record is exiting your vertical relationship with culture and tradition, how isolating, alienating it feels to be your own person, thinker, artist, to individuate, not to be confused with hyper-individualism caused by capitalism, because we can't be fully realized till we become, to genderize it, our own men, our own person, our own, your role in your community, which supersedes these kinds of like weird, petty shadows of the ego kind of thing, wielding our own intuitive magic. And all the weaker, dumber versions of you have to die over and over again to become the adult we needed when we were children, Like to become that aggrieved inner child inside you. Like to protect that aggrieved inner child inside you. You have to individuate from culture and the father's traditions, which is paternal cultures or spirits that holds the world up. Avoiding adopting the capitalist myths presenting as gender identity roles masking the hedonic treadmill that offsets our alienation. And it goes as a triptych theme in our records, 1111, a record about the music scene, discovering punk rock, wonder, awe, spiritual rewards of emptying yourself for your art, youthful, willful positivity to deal with material reality. Youth Crew Blues, a record about the failures of punk rock ideology, people misusing art, music all around us, heartbreak and death, the pain of a material world breaking your youth, your identity, the inherent returning of the tide of energy crashing back against what you thought you had built. It's the blues. And the new one, Southern Fantasia, is a record about overcoming the death drive and exiting your vertical relationship with culture, punk rock, fashion, tradition, previously walked ideological paths, and individuating to become the people we needed instead of the willful ignorance of stretching positivity over material experiences, an ideological interface to transmute material signals into magical thinking bullshit, Pure musical, lyrical wizardry ascension to redefine culture and music through our project. And that's kind of the themes, the holy triptych.
All these videos are coming through.
Yeah, they are.
Didn't we play a show here once, like a house show and borrowed your dad's truck, dude?
Not my dad.
No, dude. I remember that. It was like up a massive hill too, that way. And it was like the backyard was super steep downhill.